It's Jose Serrano from Jose Serrano Special Vehicles. So every video gonna be destroying seconds, episode 20 to episode 69. This is episode 69. You'll see jet crash, train collision, the wheelie goes terribly wrong, helicopter crash in the apartment, and plane crash in the parking lot. Before I start the video, just watch these videos of Jose Serrano Special Vehicles of destroying in seconds with the helicopter crash in the ocean, plane crash in the airport, and more. Be sure to watch Destroy Second Season 1 to Season 2 was 40 and 24 from Wiki Fandom. Make sure to like and subscribe to Jose Serrano Special Vehicles. Grab some water, stand up, keep moving, and enjoy this show. This showtime.
So much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever.
That was a hell of a ride.
I'm Ron Pitts. Our team has scoured the globe to bring you some of the most destructive mayhem ever captured on tape. Cameras roll in the Philippines as a U.S. military jet breaks apart in midair and slams into the ground. In Turkey, a worker barely escapes with his life when a freight train collides with a tractor trailer. It's where chaos and catastrophe meet, and it's called Destroyed in Seconds. To evade guided missiles during the Vietnam War, the U.S. Air Force begins equipping its planes with countermeasure devices called photo flash flares. A photo flash flare's intense burst of heat, light, and infrared radiation draws a guided missile away from the aircraft, allowing the pilot to initiate evasive maneuvers. At 690 miles per hour, this RF-4B Phantom II jet is performing a training exercise with photo flash flares when trouble strikes.
Report red monkey, report red monkey. Look for shoot. Keep the cameras rolling.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
He's on fire! Dad, take your signal down!
We have an F4 down. Probably rescue heroes. We have an F4 down.
Flame out. We got a
Aircraft going down. Aircraft down. Control, 1-8, aircraft down. Evasive maneuvers. We're going to break off that aircraft. He was at 270.
We got flame.
We have an aircraft down.
Cameras rolling in.
He's got his plans all over the place.
One of the flares malfunctions and ignites inside the aircraft. It explodes with a force of 2 hand grenades. The blast severs the Phantom's tail and sends it plummeting. Just 100 feet above the ground, the 2 crewmen eject, each withstanding 300 Gs. That's 300 times the force of gravity. Seconds later, the Phantom slams to Earth in a fireball. Because the aircraft was obliterated, investigators investigators are unable to determine exactly why the flare ignited inside the jet. Both the pilot and the weapons system officer injure their necks and backs from the force of the ejection.
Okay, you missed the fireball.
They both recover and return to flying. The Phantom is a $24 million loss. The Indian Ocean, off the coast of South Africa. Around 9 p.m., the passengers aboard the Greek ship Oceanos are informed that the ship is taking on water.
Right down below now, there's water everywhere.
Before some of the passengers can even make it above deck, 2 of the ship's lifeboats have already been lowered. Unfortunately, one of those boats contains most of the ship's crew, including the captain, leaving the remaining passengers to mostly fend for themselves. Although there are still lifeboats available, the ship is starting to list, making it difficult for the passengers to lower the boats into the water. As the sun rises, one of the men on board makes a desperate SOS call.
We are channel 16, channel 16 at the moment. Can you help, over?
Rescue boats arrive, but the 20-foot swells prevent a boat-to-boat rescue. Authorities conclude that the only way off the doomed ship is by helicopter. Aboard one of the South African military helicopters sent to rescue passengers is the ship's captain. He's returned to help coordinate the rescue. Gusting winds complicate matters, making it treacherous for the pilots to lower any rescuers onto the deck of the disabled ship. But with the help of some passengers, they're able to get the rescuer on board. Now, it's a race against time to get the remaining 200 passengers off the sinking vessel. 2 by 2, they're airlifted off the deck. It's a slow, nerve-wracking process, but 10 hours after it begins to sink, the last of the Oceanos' 402 passengers is pulled to safety. Moments later, the bow of the more than 7,000-ton ship goes under. Within minutes, the Oceanos is lost to the sea. The Oceanos begins to sink when water enters the engine room through a broken pipe. With the engine room flooded, the boat is dead in the water. Eventually, the Oceanos rolls onto her side and sinks, bow first, into the Indian Ocean. A Greek board of inquiry finds the captain and 4 of his officers who abandoned ship negligent in the handling of the disaster. Thankfully, no one is killed or injured. Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Rally race car drivers from around the world have come to the first ever Rally National Championship. Rally car racing mixes fast cars, hairpin turns, and treacherous dirt courses, adding up to one of the most dangerous breeds of auto racing. Synonymous with dirt track and danger is the name Travis Pastrana. Pastrana is widely known for high-flying acrobatics on his motorcycle. His need for the extreme has thrust him into the dangerous sport of rally car racing. Today, driver Travis Pastrana is battling to remain on the leaderboard. He decides to gain some time by speeding up to 113 miles per hour, but he's chosen the wrong place on the course to do it.
How are you?
That was a hell of a ride. Woohoo!
Pastrana comes into the turn at 113 miles per hour. He slams a berm, launching his car into the air. Pastrana's car violently flips 8 times. Thanks to their safety gear and roll cage, neither Pastrana nor his navigator are injured. As for his $200,000 race car,
He's safe, though. It will hurt less if you don't look.
Very safe, Kate.
it's completely destroyed.
Are you alive?
I'm fine. How are you?
That was a hell of a ride.
Mersin is a busy port city on the Mediterranean coast of southern Turkey. February 25th, 2009, surveillance cameras record the activity outside the port's many warehouses. Security guard Chim Tokach guides a semi-truck across the train tracks. He doesn't realize there's a freight train approaching, and the truck driver doesn't see it until it's too late. The train crashes straight into the semi, and the semi crashes straight into Chim. The impact knocks Chim's helmet off his head and sends it flying across the yard, leaving him lying by the train tracks. His fellow workers rush to check on his condition. An ambulance is called and soon arrives on the scene to find that Chim Tokach is alive. His only injuries are a blow to the head and some cuts and bruises. The truck driver also escapes with minor injuries. How is it possible to survive the combined force of a 100-ton freight train and a 10-ton truck? The answer is pure luck. And Chim knows it. He declares this day, February 25th, his new birthday. Firebird Lake. Top alcohol flat-bottom racers compete in the 2006 International Hot Boat Association World Finals. Getting just a little air under the hull of one of these super-fast boats can send it careening out of control. Something veteran racer Lloyd Bell is about to find out firsthand. Lloyd believes that he may have incorrectly adjusted a device on the underside of his boat called the cavitation plate, causing the boat to wobble. Once air gets under the flat bottom, the boat is launched out of the water. The right corner of the stern hits the surface, slamming the bow down. Both the engine and the safety capsule are knocked out of the boat. The violent impact causes the safety capsule's canopy to pop open. The capsule sails 200 feet before landing upside down in the lake, with Lloyd strapped inside, unconscious. Lloyd is drowning as the rescue boat and divers rush onto the scene. By the time they flip the capsule right side up and fish it out of the water, Lloyd has been submerged for a little over a minute. The tibia in his left leg has shattered into 15 pieces, and the backside of his body is severely bruised. But he's alive. This 145-mile-per-hour crash is the end of the line for Lloyd's career. Although retired, he is still actively involved in the sport. It's a sunny day near Ramona, California, where a group of ultralight pilots organize an air show they call Toy Gun, their version of the movie Top Gun. Although far more sophisticated than toys, ultralights weigh no more than 500 pounds, including the weight of the pilot and a full tank of gas. One of the participating pilots is Donnie Ecker. Donnie is an ultralight acrobat, able to pull off loops, rolls, and other aerial tricks. At about 5,000 feet, he's ready to perform a stunt called a dead stick maneuver. Donnie shuts down the ultralight's engine and goes into a dive.
Flight engine is off.
He's supposed to pull out into a series of loops at about 110 miles per hour. But Donnie stays in the dive too long and hits 130 miles per hour. He starts into his first loop and pulls somewhere between 4 and 5 G. His plane's aircraft-grade aluminum frame is designed to handle 6 Gs, but not at such high speeds. Forces produced by the high-speed loop snap the right wing, causing the plane to spiral out of control. Donnie's ultralight is equipped with a ballistic recovery system, a parachute that's designed to pop out of a canister and lower the entire aircraft to the ground. Donnie instinctively pulls the deployment handle. From his position, he can see the shadow cast by his ultralight and the parachute carrying him to safety. Nearby, a family rolls videotape of what they can see of the air show. They capture Donnie's 5,000-foot descent. As Donnie comes in for a landing on the rugged California hillside, he is lucky to land on a patch of weeds. Donnie's mid-air emergency does nothing to damper his enthusiasm for ultralights. 20 years after this harrowing accident, he's still flying. Top Bike dragster action at Willowbank Raceway in Queensland, Australia. Top Bike is the fastest class of motorcycle drag racing, burning nitromethane fuel. These machines can reach speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour. As fast as cars, but without the protection a roll cage offers. Once they take off, racers are at the mercy of their body gear to protect them in a crash. Rodney is about to put his own gear to the ultimate test. As he crosses the finish line, Rodney brakes too hard and loses control. He slams against the safety wall at 193 miles per hour, then tumbles down the track. His bike skids for more than 600 yards. Moments after his high-speed crash, Rodney is back up on his feet. He refuses medical attention. His top priority is the condition of his bike. His top fuel machine sustains only minor damage. Despite hitting the wall at nearly 200 miles per hour, Rodney barely sustains a scratch. Thanks to his leather jacket and Kevlar padded pants. Paranagua, Brazil. Workers at the country's largest supplier of salt evacuate the plant. The reason? A tank holding 4,400 pounds of propane has exploded. Fire crews arrive and begin dousing the flames. When they realize the fire is in danger of igniting 2 more of the highly pressurized propane tanks, they pull back. And And what had been a routine evacuation is about to take on added urgency. The video, some of it captured on a cell phone camera, shows the two remaining propane tanks exploding only seconds apart. The fireballs shoot more than 65 feet in the air. Workers and onlookers scramble for cover as the blast rocks the entire neighborhood. After the explosion, firefighters return to extinguish anything that didn't burn itself out. A car on a nearby street is smashed by a tank that was sent flying by one of the blasts. 34 homes are damaged and 9 are destroyed. 3 people suffer serious burns. An investigation reveals that the initial fire erupted during a tank-to-tank transfer of propane. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Destroyed in Seconds. So much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. You've got a front row seat to some of the wildest action ever recorded. An out-of-control news helicopter slams into a 4-story building, yet the 3 people on board walk away. And a drag race crash so violent, the car splits in half on impact, ending the career of the veteran racer. It's TV taken to the extreme when things are destroyed in seconds. The media is alerted to a police shootout in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn, New York. Within minutes, TV news helicopters converge on the scene. One of the cameras picks up something unusual. Another news station's chopper is in trouble, directly over the densely populated neighborhood. Plummeting chopper nosedives. The pilot manages to pull out, but is unable to regain control of the aircraft. On board the helicopter are a news reporter, a trainee, and a veteran pilot. The aircraft careens into a 4-story apartment building, smashing through a chimney and a short wall. The tail snaps off, and the wreckage falls onto the roof of an adjacent building. Police arrive on the scene almost immediately. Residents who witnessed the crash begin to amass around the building. For several minutes, nothing moves inside the wreckage. Then, a hand is visible inside the cockpit. It's the reporter. He climbs out on his own. He stumbles out, gets his bearings, then goes back to the chopper to help. When rescue crews reach the roof, they find the pilot trapped in the cockpit with his legs pinned. Knowing the chopper could explode at any moment, they work frantically to free him. remove the pilot from the wreckage. He has cuts on one of his legs, but seems otherwise okay. He even manages to walk away under his own power. The third person on board, the trainee, flees the wreckage just moments after the crash. The apartment building suffers minor damage to the roof. Even so, officials order an evacuation until the wreckage can be removed and the structure is inspected. The National Transportation Safety Board blames the crash on an improperly installed drive belt, which causes the full failure of the helicopter's hydraulic system. Amazingly, the only injuries among the three are the cuts on the pilot's leg. The pilot, who was shot down 3 times in Vietnam, says this crash is more harrowing than anything he'd experienced during the war. When a car pulls a wheelie, it's known as a wheel stand. At the 11th Annual Power Wheel Stand Championship in Byron, Illinois, competitors vie for a $10,000 top prize. To perform a wheelie stand, you put a large engine in a lightweight car, lock the transmission brake, and then rev the engine. When the transmission brake is released, the car rears up into a wheelie.
Almost flips the car over!
He doesn't know it yet, but the star of today's show will be Jason Schubert in his 1978 Oldsmobile Cutlass. After Jason goes wheels up, the rear passenger side tire also comes off the ground. Less than a second later, the car is sliding on its side, followed by 3.5 barrel rolls down the track. As soon as the car stops spinning, Jason releases himself from his protective harness. Track personnel help him to his feet. The crowd shows its approval. And so do the judges. Jason wins the overall competition and takes home the $10,000. Unfortunately, the car he spent $100,000 on is totaled. Top riders compete in the 2004 Swedish Motocross Championships in Västerås, Sweden. The dirt track's abrupt twists and turns, along with steep hills and sudden drops, make it a particular challenge. Coming out of lap 3 at 40 miles per hour, Andre Nilsson holds the first place position. There doesn't appear to be anything to prevent him from keeping the lead into lap 4, until rider Nicholas Hermansen enters the picture. Racer Andre Nilsson holds on to first place in the Swedish Motocross Championships of 2004. 39 other riders are trying to knock him out of the lead position, but only one will succeed. It's early in the 4th lap. Nilsson's taking his bike up to top speed. Suddenly, rider Nicholas Hermansen misses a jump on another part of the track. He loses control and barrels across a portion of the grass infield. He has no chance to slow down and no time to avoid a collision with Nilsson. He slams straight into the side of Nilsson's bike, and they both go tumbling. Nilsson never sees the other bike coming. Both motorcycles weigh approximately 250 pounds, and they're each traveling at 40 miles an hour. While Hermansson's injuries are limited to a broken arm, Nilsson fractures 8 ribs and his sternum, and also injures a shoulder joint. Hermansson returns to racing the next year, but retires at the end of the season. Nilsson retires after this crash. Although he won't compete, he won't rule out getting back up on a motorcycle again. Japan, 2004. Unusually heavy rainfall causes flooding and soil erosion on the island of Honshu, leading to 3,500 mudslides over a 3-month period. In Nagano, workers survey a site where the road is severely buckled. Suddenly, the retaining wall crumbles, causing this chunk of mountain to slide into the ravine below. About 100 miles away in Nauru, one section of a mountain road is closed due to the slides. Officials are on the scene to document the damage. Just seconds before the slide, the earth rumbles and creaks as it begins to break apart. The ground gives way, taking utility poles and a forest of birch trees along with it. Thousands of tons of earth are displaced. In all, a 328-foot section of the mountain road is washed away. No one is injured. However, at least 20 people throughout Japan are killed due to the numerous mudslides. The Bathurst Motor Festival plays host to one of the most challenging racing events in the world, an endurance marathon known as the Bathurst 12. The 4-mile circuit snakes through Australia's famed Mount Panorama, a treacherous mountain section filled with steep grades, blind corners, and twisting, slanting curves, before opening up onto a downhill straightaway. After earlier racing fatalities, a bend known as the Colfax Chase was added to slow drivers down on this 3/4-mile stretch. Now, 10 hours into the 12-hour endurance race, this section of the track is about to claim another victory. Australia's Bathurst 12, the world's most challenging endurance race. For 12 straight hours, drivers push themselves and their cars to the limit. To keep the race safe, a bend in the track has been added to slow drivers coming out of this straightaway. But at an event like this, even the straightaways can be treacherous.
Wow. Big accident, the Swifties. They've had to one day, big accident, can't say where it is yet.
Moving at over 120 miles per hour, driver Lynn Cave rolls into a sand trap, swerves back onto the track, and loses control. The spinning is so violent that a tire is sent flying nearly 100 feet into the air. The force rips out the engine, the front suspension, and the gearbox. 9 flips later, the car comes to a stop. The crew, watching on closed-circuit TV, expects the worst.
Got that, 2 and 2 on
But a
me.
moment later, Lynn's battered body begins to stir.
Will definitely be a safety car.
Safety car boards are out.
Because the roll cage and safety harnesses remain intact, he's able to exit the car under his own power.
Going right.
Lynn suffers 4 broken ribs and a severely bruised face.
Safety car.
The crash totals Lynn's highly modified Mazda 3 MPS, worth $80,000.
Wow.
A quiet Saturday afternoon in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Surveillance cameras monitor every move in and around a large beauty supply store. Cars come and go in the parking lot as mothers wander with their children in tow. A small boy plays by himself. A clerk helps patrons on one aisle, while another group gets assistance from the cashier. All unaware of the mayhem that's about to erupt. A woman drives out of the parking lot, then suddenly pulls a U-turn and plows through the store's window. The small boy playing near the point of impact narrowly misses being crushed. As mothers scramble to find their children, the clerk makes his way to the point of the crash. The driver of the car appears to be unhurt. 2 women lead the boy out of the store to safety. The driver later claims she was groggy after visiting the dentist. No one is injured, including the boy. But the store suffers at least $10,000 worth of damage. July 23rd, 2006. 5,000 fans gather on the grounds of Oklahoma's Buffalo Run Casino. They're here to witness a jump by one of the world's most famous freestyle riders, Trigger Gum. Trigger plans to set a new world record by jumping a distance of more than 310 feet. As a freestyle veteran, Trigger has had his share of crashes. Luckily, none of them serious. Today, his luck runs out. 5,000 fans crowd the grounds of the Buffalo Run Casino in Miami, Oklahoma. Here, freestyle superstar Trigger Gum will try to set a new world record for distance jumping. He's shooting for 315 feet. Trigger spent $50,000 customizing his Honda motocross bike. But no amount of money can prevent what happens next.
Oh my God. There, you see that? Did he broke his nose?
85 feet in the air, Trigger is suddenly hit with a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust. It slows him down and forces a landing at the peak of the ramp rather than on the downslope. He bounces hard on the flat surface and loses control.
My God. There, you see that?
Trigger is rushed to the hospital. The motocross bike he helped build is totaled. Trigger suffers 5 broken vertebrae in his neck and back. 3 months later, he's jumping again. To this day, Trigger Gum remains one of the most popular riders in all of motocross.
I didn't expect it to be cold. Holy smoke. Oh my God.
3 college buddies set out cross-country.
On our way to Chicago, then to Milwaukee, and the home stretch. A16. That's a big arc.
To visit 12 Major League Baseball parks. But perhaps the most amazing sight they see
The VIP section. Anaheim, California.
is in the skies above their final stop at Anaheim's Angel Stadium.
I didn't expect it to be cold. Holy smoke. Oh my God.
The pilot of this Cessna 175 is out of fuel.
Holy smoke.
He attempts an emergency landing in the stadium parking lot. But the 2,300-pound plane hits the ground, then bounces. With no room to stop, the Cessna crashes through a cinder block wall. The 3 friends race to the downed plane. By the time they reach the wreckage, the pilot and his passenger are outside and walking around.
He bounced off the parking lot. Goes through the wall. Hey, he goes, yeah, I'm fine.
They suffer no injuries, but the $55,000 airplane is destroyed. Turns out the pilot miscalculates his fuel consumption because he had replaced the plane's engine. His new, more powerful engine consumes more fuel.
Oh my God.
I'm Ron Pitts, and we'll see you next time, right here on Destroyed in Seconds.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh my God.
So after episode 37-38, that's the same when the car crash barrel rolling. Here's space and time, like I see on episode 67. Alright guys, before I end this video, go see episode 20 to episode 69 of this episode. Thanks for watching. I'm going to post the episode 70. This is the final episode on my channel for season 1, Jose Serrano Special Vehicles. We'll see you next time.